A powerful earthquake has just struck Nevada and California, and the impact is already sending shockwaves far beyond the epicenter. Reports are still coming in, alarms have been going off, and people across multiple states felt the ground move in a way they'll never forget. If you're watching this right now, stay with me because what happened beneath this region tonight isn't just another tremor. It's a major seismic event that unfolded with surprising intensity, leaving many asking the same urgent questions. How strong was it? Why did it hit so hard, and could more shaking be on the way? In the next few minutes, we're breaking down the confirmed facts, the early damage reports, and what experts are already warning about, so don't go anywhere. Just a short while ago, residents from Nevada to parts of California were jolted by a sudden and forceful quake that rattled homes, triggered emergency alerts, and sent people rushing outside in confusion and fear. The shaking wasn't just quick, it was deep, powerful, and widespread, affecting communities far beyond the epicenter. Emergency services began responding within minutes, while seismic centers across the country started analyzing the data to determine exactly what unfolded. This region is no stranger to earthquakes, but the strength and timing of this one have already raised important questions about what is happening underground. In today's video, we're going to walk through everything we know so far: where the quake hit, how intense it was, what caused it, and what residents should expect in the next hours and days. Whether you felt the shaking yourself or you were just trying to understand what is going on, this will give you a clear, calm, and complete breakdown of the situation as it continues to develop. Just moments before the first alerts began lighting up phones across Nevada and California, a strong earthquake struck with enough force to be felt miles away from its epicenter. The quake hit suddenly, without warning, and the initial data from seismic centers showed a magnitude strong enough to rattle buildings, shake homes, and send thousands of people into instant confusion. The epicenter was located deep within a known seismic zone, but the shockwaves traveled farther than expected due to the depth and angle of the rupture. People across various cities reported feeling everything from a sharp jolt to a long, rolling shake that lasted several seconds, long enough for many to realize that this wasn't just a minor tremor. Within minutes, automated systems confirmed the quake's magnitude, and emergency officials began assessing the region. While some areas experienced mild shaking, others endured more intense movement, causing items to fall, windows to rattle, and residents to brace themselves as the ground continued vibrating. What made this quake stand out wasn't only its location but its reach. Reports came in from communities several states over, proving just how powerful the seismic waves were. At this stage, the information we have includes the magnitude, the exact coordinates of the epicenter, and a growing list of cities where shaking was felt. But as experts continue analyzing the data, more details will emerge about the nature of this earthquake, why it struck when it did, how much stress was released, and what it tells us about the ground beneath Nevada and California right now. As soon as the quake struck, the impact on the ground became clear. In several neighborhoods, residents reported hearing a low rumbling before everything around them began to shake. Walls creaked, furniture slid, and in some cases, objects toppled from shelves. Emergency services immediately received calls about burst pipes, small fires, and individuals trapped inside damaged structures. Though widespread catastrophic destruction hasn't been confirmed, localized damage has definitely been reported, especially in older buildings and areas closer to the epicenter. Power outages affected thousands, as transformers shut down automatically to prevent further damage. Streetlights flickered, alarms blared, and people stepped outside to check on neighbors, unsure whether the shaking was over. Some roads experienced cracks or minor buckling, prompting authorities to block off affected areas until they can be inspected. In rural zones, residents described dust clouds rising from hillsides and rocks falling along highways. Social media filled quickly with videos of the moment the quake hit, security camera footage capturing sudden jolts, pets reacting before the shaking intensified, and families rushing to safety. These first-hand accounts give us a human view of what unfolded: fear, confusion, but also quick action and resilience from communities accustomed to living along active fault lines. Local responders have been working nonstop to assess structural damage, and make sure everyone in affected areas is safe. While the situation is still developing, the early response shows strong coordination, with teams prioritizing hospitals, schools, and major infrastructure points to ensure stability as aftershocks continue. To understand what happened beneath the surface during this earthquake, seismologists have already begun analyzing key details such as the depth, magnitude, and the fault line responsible. Nevada and California sit near several active faults, and the entire region is part of a much larger tectonic system where stress builds up over time. When that stress is suddenly released, the energy radiates outward in the form of seismic waves, which is exactly what residents felt today. Experts note that the depth of the quake plays a major role in how widely it can be felt. A deeper earthquake can send waves further, while a shallow one can feel more violent near the epicenter. In this case, the quake's characteristics made it noticeable across a large area. Seismologists are also examining the waveform signatures to determine the type of movement that occurred, whether the fault slipped horizontally, vertically, or a combination of both. One common question people ask after a big quake is whether it could trigger an even larger one. Scientists are generally cautious with predictions, but they do acknowledge that after any major rupture, the surrounding crust can become temporarily unstable. This is why aftershocks are likely in the hours and days that follow. However, experts also emphasize that a strong quake doesn't necessarily mean a bigger event is coming. For now, the scientific community continues monitoring the fault activity closely. Their data will help determine whether this earthquake was an isolated release of energy or part of a broader seismic pattern developing underneath Nevada and California. In the hours following the main quake, aftershocks began rolling through the region, some barely noticeable, others strong enough to make residents brace themselves again. Aftershocks are a natural part of any major seismic event. When a fault shifts, the surrounding sections adjust, triggering smaller quakes as the ground settles. Scientists say this aftershock sequence could last for days or even weeks, with the strongest ones typically striking within the first 24 to 48 hours. Authorities have issued updated safety reminders, especially for communities closest to the epicenter. Residents are encouraged to check for gas leaks, inspect walls for cracks, and avoid using elevators until buildings are cleared. If you felt significant shaking, it's recommended to turn off utilities only if you suspect damage. Roads near the fault line and older overpasses are being inspected for structural integrity, with some temporarily closed as a precaution. For people living in high-risk zones, preparedness is critical right now. Officials advise keeping emergency kits close, ensuring phone batteries remain charged, and staying alert for new alerts from local authorities. Many communities have opened temporary shelters in case residents need a safe place to stay during the aftershock period. If you're near the affected area, staying informed is your best tool. Follow verified updates from emergency management teams, avoid spreading unconfirmed information, and check on neighbors who may need assistance. Aftershocks can strike without warning, and even if they're weaker, they can still cause damage to already weakened structures. This period is crucial for staying cautious and prepared. To understand the significance of this earthquake, it helps to place it in the broader context of seismic history in Nevada and California. This region experiences frequent activity due to its position along multiple interacting fault systems. While California's San Andreas Fault often gets the most attention, Nevada is also one of the most seismically active states in the country. The two regions share tectonic influences, meaning energy shifts in one area can sometimes relate to changes in another. This quake resembles several past events that shook the western U.S., though each earthquake has its own unique pattern. Over the last decade, experts have noted a gradual increase in moderate to strong quakes across both states. Some of this is normal tectonic behavior, but some indicates long-term stress building in certain fault zones. This latest event adds to the growing database of seismic activity that scientists use to better understand how energy moves through the region. Preparing for earthquakes is an ongoing effort. Communities in both states have improved building standards, created emergency plans, and strengthened their response systems because they know the risks are real. Events like today's serve as strong reminders of why readiness matters. While no one can predict earthquakes precisely, understanding the patterns helps experts guide the public toward safer practices. Ultimately, this earthquake is part of a larger story about the constant movement beneath the western United States. Today's event may not be the last, but with awareness, preparation, and strong community response, residents can face these challenges with more confidence and safety. As we wrap up, this earthquake serves as a powerful reminder of just how active and unpredictable the ground beneath Nevada and California can be. In just a matter of seconds, a normal day turned into a moment of fear, uncertainty, and urgency for thousands of people. But even in the midst of the shaking and the chaos, we've already seen incredible resilience, communities checking on one another, emergency teams responding quickly, and experts working around the clock to understand what comes next. What we know so far is clear. The quake was strong, the impact was widespread, and aftershocks will continue as the fault settles. But with accurate information and calm preparation, everyone in the affected area can stay safe and stay ready. If you're watching from a place that felt the quake, I hope you and your loved ones are doing okay. Make sure to follow local alerts, keep your essentials close, and stay aware of any new updates from officials. And if you experienced the shaking firsthand, feel free to share your story in the comments. Your voice helps paint a clearer picture of what really happened on the ground tonight. Thank you for joining me as we break down this unfolding situation. Stay safe, stay informed, and if you want updates the moment new details come in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're in this together, and I'll keep you posted every step of the way.